вас, і ми продовжуємо наші регулярні зустрічі з країнами.
We continue our regular meetings with the countries of southeastern Europe. And, unfortunately, our region is one of Russia's main targets for provoking chaos. And we saw this before in the Balkans, where Russia intensified interethnic friction, carried out sabotage and even attempted coups. And we have seen attempts to manipulate public opinion in Romania with the involvement of Moscow. And for 3 decades, Russia has been trying to keep Moldova in poverty and instability, to bring it completely under its control. And if Europe loses in Moldova this year, it will encourage Russia to interfere even more in your countries, taking away your resources, your sovereignty, and even your history. Today, I propose that we focus, and I in particular, focus on 3 things: defense, unity, and real development. And you can all see that Putin does not want to end this war. He believes that as long as he can fight and dominate his allies, he remains politically alive. But regardless of what he believes, our job is to put Russia in a position where they will be forced to seek peace and political survival through means other than military. And it is absolutely possible. Defense support for Ukraine. We need it to defend our cities, our villages from Russian attacks, and to make Russia feel the real cost of the war at home. Air defense systems and drones are key, and sanctions are another key tool. Your support for joint European self-determination is vital. The European Union has announced its 19th sanctions package. It could be stronger, especially in targeting Russian oil tankers and its financial sector and in the oil price ceiling. Europe needs to do more for its own defense, but everyone in the United States should remember twice. Before that, destabilization in Europe had dragged American soldiers into devastating wars. This is why it is so important for America to remain engaged in European security. NATO puts Europe's security structure together, and each European country has the right to choose its own security path. The upcoming NATO summit should confirm this and, like the EU and NATO, is necessary. And here's why I ask all of you to treat security guarantees after this war as a practical necessity, from air defense to cyber threats. We need real tools for deterrence and rapid response. Let's take a look at our agreements on the army and infrastructure.
Ukraine is a cornerstone of European security. It's not just about Ukraine, it's about its future. We are talking about being the whole of Europe, the whole world, order in this world. And we fight together. But Russia has more weapons, more mobilization, more propaganda. If we want to restore peace in Europe, we have to act with at least equal force. Russia will not stop even in Moldova if it is not stopped in Ukraine. The support for Ukraine should not be what it has been until now, not decisive, not constant, not large. We need to help as soon as possible. Russia has enormous resources, enormous capabilities. Ukraine gets less. It's too late. We have to turn it around and do the opposite.
President Zelensky immediately agreed to arrange a ceasefire and meet with Putin. But Russia, for its part, has been dumbing down and even completely neutralizing any peaceful initiatives. It makes unreasonable demands that are completely unacceptable to the world. We have to do everything we can to help Ukraine in negotiations from a position of strength. That's why we have to stand by calling Russia's actions by their rightful names, calling a spade a spade. I can only imagine how fed up you and all Ukrainian citizens are by now, to everyone, to all those who have already spoken here about the great support and assistance to Ukraine. And in the end, it all comes down to your people and your country and the fact that you have to take care of yourself. But I can say on behalf of my country that Serbia will remain quite firmly and resolutely committed to respecting the international law of the UN Charter, which includes protecting the territorial integrity of UN member states as the most important principle. And we have always blocked for this. As I said, we will remain resolute. I think that this can be useful in some ways for Ukraine as well in a slightly different way. This is exactly what happened. At the summit of the European political community in Budapest, I raised some issues, and I decided not to do it anymore. But what would I like to say, raise now? This is, if you have a ceasefire or a truce. This concerns you and the Ukrainian people. We can be of assistance in this, but I would like to take you with me, Mr. President, to 1 or 2 cities or regions that we could restore. I think that would be very clear to the Ukrainian people, so that they could get clear support. That is, it is something Azerbaijan did here when talking about humanitarian issues, on the territory of integration and others, such as political support for your territorial integrity. Can you always count on us for that? We are ready to listen to you and see how we can help you.
Of Ukrainian territory.
Не дасть.
We commend you for your efforts to achieve peace. Our position is clear. It must be a just peace, a peace that will not reward aggression and the loss of Ukrainian territories. This would be a terrible scenario for Ukraine, but also for international law and international governance in general. Because the principle that the bully wins will definitely be seen in other places in the world in the future. Therefore, a peaceful solution must be fair and respect international law. We join the efforts of those who are willing, many who are willing, who are trying to help expand the sanctions package currently being prepared within the European Union against Russia. Because we feel that more pressure is needed, and we understand that you cannot and will not accept the ultimatums that will be put before you, which are not only unrealistic but, in fact, humiliating to Ukraine's international position and sovereignty. There are several levels of protection, and Ukraine is protecting and building this, and a lot of big money is spent on this. With them, they are always completely lacking. But first and foremost, it is air defense and air defense systems that need to be protected. I will not say which systems, where we have them, and what energy they protect. Again, as soon as the Russians realize where ours are, where our air defense systems are, they attack them. Therefore, we are constantly changing the routes of our air defense systems. Just like the Russians, they are constantly changing the routes of their drone strikes and the number of drones. Therefore, it is absolutely clear how they will act. We have some weapons in development. Some things have been developed, and we are trying to find more funds for mass production. These are different types of drones, an interceptor, etc.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The $1 million question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.